Semi-final on the horizon tomorrow as England take on historic rivals Argentina. Thomas Tuchel's side are preparing for just a fourth World Cup semi-final and looking to reach the main event for the first time since their 1966 triumph at Wembley. And there's good news coming out of England's training base in Kansas City this morning before they travel to Atlanta. Declan Rice is fit and ready to go.
Thomas Tuchel's injury and fatigue concerns have eased considerably over the last 2 days in the aftermath of that really gruelling win for England in the quarter-final against Norway. The big news is that Declan Rice, I understand, is fit and available to start the World Cup semi-final against the world champions Argentina tomorrow. He had a stomach complaint, didn't he, after the round of 16 match in Mexico City, which meant he had to spend 3 days in bed, according to the head coach Thomas Tuchel, and he wasn't able to train. As a result of that, the England medics said he could only play 45 minutes of the quarter-final against Norway. And the truth is, when he walked through the media areas heading to the team bus after the match, I saw him and he looked drained, he looked drawn in the face, he looked as though he'd really was struggling an awful lot. But it's thought he was able to train fully in Kansas City here yesterday, the first England training session since that win against Norway. And I don't think there's any remaining doubts now that he will be able to start the game against Argentina. Elsewhere, those fatigue problems, I understand, led to a number of players with cramp and extreme exhaustion, but the FA medics have been working on the players very, very hard over the last couple of days. And so with the exception of Jarrell Quansah, who's suspended, and Jordan Henderson, who still has obviously that broken wrist, Thomas Tuchel has pretty much a full squad to be able to pick from for this huge game. That's great news for him. They're just one win away, remember, England, from their first World Cup final in 60 years. And Thomas Tuchel now has one training session later today to prepare for that huge match.
Right, well, one of the big talking points from England's win over Norway were the post-match interviews with Jude Bellingham disagreeing with Thomas Tuchel's take on the performance. Harry Kane has had his say. He has no issue with the difference of opinion and has questioned why so much has been made of it. Well, Kane told the BBC, when you are playing a game like that and to be asked a question 5 minutes after the final whistle and he didn't really know what had been said, what do you want Jude to say? We had just been through a battle. It is easy to try and create this division. It seems like an English thing to do at these major tournaments, but it's the complete opposite. The group is where we are because of our complete togetherness. Things sometimes get made out to be more than they are. He, which is Thomas Tuchel, wears his heart on his sleeve and people appreciate that. He is one of the best managers in the world for a reason. So there we go. Look, Kane saying, you know, people are trying to create a division. It's a very English thing to do. What does he mean by that, do you think?
I think it's not the first scandal we've had around an England camp, around a major tournament, like he says, and I think a lot has been made of absolutely nothing. I think what do you expect a player after you've been through the battle and the emotional rollercoaster that they've been during that game, especially Jude Bellingham, the impact he's had on the game and the weight he's had to carry. How do you want him to respond to that question? I felt he handled it brilliantly, and whatever, as in terms of just move on with that next question. Yes, there'll be aspects of the game where the manager can analyse during the game, but as a player, you're not supposed to be able to even fathom what's gone on in those moments. I can't imagine what they were feeling and what they'd been through. They now found themselves in a semi-final. So any negativity after that game, credit to him, he just brushed aside.
Yeah, he did. And he's not just going to have to agree with his manager. We all say we want players with their own opinions. He gave his own opinion, and that's what we're crying out for. And you've been in situations before, interviewing managers at tense moments on many occasions, and you're doing your job as a journalist, putting a question out. If Tuchel said something slightly negative, you're probably going to bring it up and ask the players. Similar, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, we want players to be honest. We want managers to be honest. And we want both of those sectors, managers and players, to reflect what we've seen with our eyes on the pitch. So, and I think that's been one of the good things about Thomas Tuchel, is that he's not sugarcoated anything. When England have played well, he said they've played well. And when England have not played so well, he's been open and honest about what that looks like. And I think fans appreciate that, because there's nothing more frustrating than a manager saying, oh, no, we're playing really well, when you can see with your own eyes that they aren't. But that's not really been the case. I think, look, yeah, as you say, I've been in situations like that those interviews are really hard. Gabriel Clark is an absolute veteran, a master of his craft, and he obviously has to put those quotes to Jude Bellingham to see what he has to say.
Yeah.
And I think it was a fair question to ask. The thing about creating a division, I don't think the media is trying to create a division here. This is the backdrop to this is that there has been issues between Jude
not
Bellingham.
Isolation, is it, David?
Yeah, this is an issue that's been ongoing under the surface for a year or so between Jude Bellingham, between Thomas Tuchel. Tuchel has got on the record to say he wants that togetherness and has almost pointed that towards Jude Bellingham. So that's why this story has grown a little bit over the last couple of days. But on the evidence of the last few weeks, Jude Bellingham has been fantastic on the pitch and has done everything that has been asked of him of the manager. But that did just open up a slight door to what has happened over the last year, I think.
But I think just on that, Hayley, you need to have such a strong manager who's so clear in his own identity, his own persona, to be able to build personal relationships, to allow his players to say that. Because how are you going to address that after? You're not going to look at Jude Bellingham and say, well, he's a bad character for the dressing room. We can do without him because he's got negative things to say. He responds with his brutal honesty as well, and he delivers on the pitch and he delivers around the group, and you can see how much he means to those players. And for him to just take that, not criticism, but that answer back from one of your players and still be able to handle that is real credit, I feel, to how Thomas Tuchel manages.
Yeah, and the first few answers from Jude, he was so excited and obviously delighted because the reality moments stepping off the pitch, you're in a semi-final of a World Cup and you're just on this high, you're elated, and then suddenly someone's asking you a little bit of a negative question, and it kind of, you know, if you'd had a little bit more time to think about it and digest what had happened and maybe think about how to improve on the performance, you would then kind of go back in maybe with a different answer. But on that high, off the back of the game, your emotions are high as well,
100%.
aren't they, you know? And look, there's been a lot of praise heaped on Jude and how he's gone about his business and the togetherness of the squad. Thomas Tuchel said he wanted to create this brotherhood, and off the field there haven't been any issues for England in this tournament. Is that maybe one reason why stories like this get blown up? Because we're just looking for something, because there's been nothing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's been no off-field issues. That the main issues that have been talked about during this tournament has been around team selection, hasn't it? There's been nothing else for people to talk about. So I still think it's worthy of a discussion, what was said, because it is newsworthy and we have to talk about it. But I think maybe it has been magnified because there really hasn't been that much else to talk about.
Yeah, I think he's, like you say, it is those moments. I've been in situations after games where cameras put in your face 30 seconds after, say, winning in the last minute, and you end up can't even remember those interviews. And I think what's positive is we're talking about an England team and the manager's speaking so passionately about how he feels they can improve. It's not we're rubbish, we're this. It's like, no, we weren't great tonight, but we can be better in the semi-final, and they'll need to be better to beat Argentina. But what an opportunity to keep pushing forward. And I think that I don't even think that'll be discussed in the group, the interview afterwards. I think they'll laugh about it because Jude is what he is. Yeah, whatever, move on.
Yeah.
And I think that's why England have been so focused and level-headed to get themselves to this stage.
Absolutely, OK. Well, we're going to move on and do just that. After reaching these semi-finals in 2018, the quarter-finals in Qatar, either side of 2 Euros finals, Jordan Pickford believes it's time for England to take that next step and end those 60 years of hurt.
We were unfortunate in Qatar against France. I think we were the better side and didn't come out on top on that day. And yeah, we've got to take them moments and them moments in your career. Looking back at 2018, then 2 Euro finals as well. So you've got to take their moments and learn from them. This is our moment to go and play against Argentina and hopefully come out on top, regardless of the rivalry. It's about us being at our best. To get to a final in a World Cup is going to be a great honour, and that's everybody's dream. But we won't look past Wednesday. We know it's going to be a tough opponent, a proud nation with a lot of talent, and it's us versus them on Wednesday, and we need to be our best version of ourselves to get to that opportunity come Sunday.
Well, to get past Argentina usually means stopping Lionel Messi. The 8-time Ballon d'Or winner has 8 goals at this tournament, and Pickford labelled him the GOAT.
He scored so many goals and he's contributed to so many goals as well over his career, and it's great to be able to finally come up against him for so long and watching him as a kid. Everyone will talk about Messi because he's one of the GOATs of the game, but you can't look past the ability and the talent we've got in the squad going forward, defensively, togetherness, we've got it all there, and that's what we need to put on show on Wednesday. But we also can't just talk about Messi. They're a good side and they're reigning champions, so yeah, they're a good side, but we've got so much ability in our squad going forward, and we're hard to break down. We've got that resilience, we've got that togetherness, and we've got that mentality. You know, that's what makes it a good team.
Well, the last time England faced Argentina in a World Cup was back in 2002, and that David Beckham penalty, which gave England a famous 1-0 win. I
remember being sat in the school hall on the floor watching when the teacher wheeled the TV in, so I'll never forget that moment, and I think we got to school early to watch it that day. So yeah, it was. I was only a young kid. I was probably surprised I was still in school then.
Well, Argentina had a final training session at their base in Kansas City, not far from England's yesterday. Messi and co looking in pretty good shape as they aim to reach back-to-back finals for the first time in their history. And then the squad travelled to Atlanta almost 48 hours before the game. Here's the team bus arriving at their hotel. Messi stepping off first alongside his close friend and Inter Miami teammate Rodrigo de Paul. The whole squad greeted with a loud reception from the Argentina fans waiting for them. And in Lionel Messi's hometown, Rosario, a giant shirt displaying the message, "Thank you, Leo," was carried by helicopter as a special tribute after Argentina reached the semi-finals. Yeah, it's some sight. The shirt measures more than 200 square metres. Little touch too big for the little magician, but there we go.
Extra large, that
yes, it is, yeah. A few X's to add to that. Right, I mean, look, if he hadn't already, Haaland has very much established himself as a global megastar, hasn't he, Luke?
It is, and credit to England for keeping him as quiet as they did, but what a player. At the end of the day, there's so many discussions that have happened this season before, where he doesn't touch the ball. He has 2 or 3 touches in the first half and lots are made of it, but he gets opportunities and he just waits. But he's always ready, isn't he? And he could walk into any team in the world and be their top scorer. And I think he has so many aspects to his game. He's so difficult to defend. That's running in behind with a holding the ball up and scoring headers like he did against Brazil. I think he is the complete striker at the minute in terms of getting you goals.
And from what we hear from our reporters out in the States, the Americans have fallen in love with Erling Haaland. Off the field, he's been brilliant on social media. And I think for him and his brand, he started the YouTube channel in the last year or so, and that has flown, obviously, with what he's been doing in America. And I think now